Today, an Ada County grand jury returned an indictment charging Adam Michael Dees with 3 counts of first-degree murder for the deaths of Ted and Elaine Welp and their son Tom. The grand jury also indicted Mr. Dees for 2 counts of robbery, 1 count of burglary, 4 counts of forgery, a weapon enhancement, and 1 count of carrying a concealed weapon. 4 weeks ago, our community was shaken by this triple homicide after the Ada County Sheriff's Office found the Welps dead in their Boise Foothills home. On behalf of my entire office, I extend my deepest condolences to the Welp family for their unimaginable loss. Sheriff Gary Rainey and his team of detectives have worked tirelessly on this case, and I appreciate the work that they have done. Since the discovery of the victims, my office has been working alongside the Ada County Sheriff's Office. My team of prosecutors and staff members have logged countless hours on this case over the last 4 weeks. I have assembled an experienced and dedicated team to handle this prosecution, including 2 senior deputy prosecutors, Gene Fisher and Brian Noggle, victim witness coordinators, an investigator, and a legal assistant. Mr. Dees is currently in the Ada County Jail, where he was served with the arrest warrant this afternoon. He is currently being held without bond. He will be scheduled for an arraignment before an assigned district judge. The maximum penalty for first-degree murder is life in prison unless we seek the death penalty. The death penalty decision has not yet been made. The decision to seek the death penalty will be made after thoughtful consideration and review of all the facts as applied to the law. Now, my office will continue to focus on the work ahead in our pursuit for justice in this case. The Ada County Sheriff's Office and the Ada County Prosecutor's Office have been in close touch with the Welp family. They asked me to relay the following to you. We appreciate the hard work of the Ada County Sheriff's Office and the Ada County Prosecutor's Office. We cannot thank the Sheriff's Office and the Prosecutor's Office enough for the hard work that they have done in this case and helping us through this difficult time. We ask that you respect our privacy. And again, that's from the Welp family. We know the community wants answers, and those answers will come through the court proceedings in this case. It is important that we preserve the integrity of this case and let the court process take its course to ensure that Mr. Dees receives a fair trial. Now I'm going to ask the sheriff if you'd like to say a few words.
Thank you, Prosecutor Bennetts. I'd like to thank 3 groups of people today. First, the Ada County Sheriff's detectives. Over the past 4 weeks, they've spent well over 1,000 hours going into evenings, going over weekends, following up on leads, processing the crime scene, gathering every possible piece of evidence that we could possibly gather. I'm very proud of the work that they've done. It's taken time away from their families, their personal lives, but they're here to bring justice for this case, and they've done an exceptional job in doing that. Secondly, I want to thank the citizens. Right after this case broke, I asked for people to call in with leads and gave some specifics that I was hoping they would call in with. We got those leads thanks to people who got a hold of us, who gave us an observation, who went out of their way to go dig something up that they might have thought was suspicious. Those things will ultimately be presented at trial. But what's unique about this is it's not just the people who are directly involved or directly impacted. It was people who could have just as easily turned the other way, gone about their business, not taken the extra time, but they took the extra time, and because of that, we have a good case. The third people, as Prosecutor Bennett said, is the Welp family. In such a time of tragedy, they've had nothing but grace and class throughout this process. It's very difficult to work with people who have been struck with such tragedy because we want to be respectful of their time too. But they have been so great, and we hope that this process, as we hand the investigation over to the Ada County Prosecutor's Office for the furtherance of justice, brings them the day that they deserve. Thank you.
May I ask any other details on how the victims died?
At the end of our proceedings, we'll be handing out the indictment for you, which is the public document, and at that time you'll have a few more additional details, but we're really not able to talk about the details because As you all know, justice requires that that happen through the court process.
Are we sure that nobody else is involved?
Mr. Dees is the only individual charged at this point in time, but as you know, the Ada County Sheriff's Office would continue an investigation, in this case just as in any other case. At this time, Mr. Dees is the only individual charged, and certainly if the sheriff were to bring us additional information as they continue and investigate this case, we would certainly look at that.
And did Dees previously know the victims? Or did he know them?
At this time, again, we'll have to let the court process take its course. We're not going to be releasing any additional details about the facts of this case at this time.
And does that include the motive as well? Can I ask what the motive was, or if there was one?
Same response. It is very important that the court proceedings take place, and you'll learn those answers as we continue through the court proceedings.
This has obviously taken almost a month. Talk about kind of the process and why it took so long to get to this point today.
And certainly, we understand it may seem like that to the public, that it was taking a long time, but given the amount of work that's involved between the sheriff and myself and my office, it takes a significant amount of time to review everything, to do a thorough job. And in a case like this, the best thing that we can do is do a thorough job, pay attention to all the details, and that's what's been happening in that period of time. And certainly, as you know, Mr. Dees was in custody during this period of time on other charges.
About those other charges, there is a process, I understand, but right now in the repository, the grand theft charges have been taken down. Can you explain that process at all?
Really a procedural process in terms of how the case gets charged. It has to get updated through the repository to update for the charges that we've talked about here today. And we can explain in more detail, I guess, if you need to afterwards, if that makes sense.
And then the last detailed question, sounds like this might come later, but were there signs of forced entry?
Again, that will come later. Yes, thank you.
Was the delay in charging him, was that waiting for forensic evidence or DNA evidence to come back?
Again, I can't answer the details about the facts of the case, but as I just said, it takes a significant amount of time to go through all the evidence, to evaluate all the evidence, for the sheriff and his detectives to provide us with that information, then us to review the information that comes to us. So that is all the things that are going on in the background while we're evaluating a case for charging.
Is there something new that came about that for the timing today, or was it just the process, or was there something you were waiting for?
Again, just our ability to review the case, look at all the evidence, and certainly process is part of that.
How long was the grand jury process?
I'm really not at liberty to talk about the grand jury process. That is a confidential process, so I can't talk about that, just that they have returned an indictment.
So just to confirm, the death penalty is a possibility in this case?
We review the death penalty in first-degree murder cases, and so our office will undertake a review just like we would in any other case where it might qualify. And as I said earlier, we look at the facts and the magnitude of the facts. We are very detailed and thorough in our review of the death penalty and then apply that to the law. So that will take time as we're working through that. All right, well, thank you all for coming. Appreciate it.
Thank you.